This is Tony just doing some wood stove maintenance. It's cold up here in Michigan. Just maintaining the old wood stove before I go outside and work on the bike. We just pulled off the front tire. We have to do the seals on the forks here also. And here's your dust caps. So we're going to pull those off. And this is probably the one that's leaking the most, looks like. So we'll get these off and swap out that oil. Don't be intimidated by us having a bunch of people here. It's really a one-person job. But it's always easier to have two people, of course. So basically all he did here was just lift these tight, loosen these up, loosen up the cap here, and then we're just going to pop these off and slide out your tube. So if everything's straight, that should slide right out. If it won't come out, you might have to loosen up your triple clamps, but that means you have something really tweaked.
You gotta find somewhere to sit.
So
I'm holding it up right now. You are? Well, I feel like there's some more juice in here.
We're just still working along here. This isn't really a how-to video if you want to look at how to do all this stuff. There's a bunch of videos, I'd imagine, on YouTube.
Mr. Jeff himself.
We're just kind of doing this because... Alright, so up until this part right here, you can see we moved our dust cap out of the way. Here's your retaining ring.
And after that?
And after that, he's got everything done, so slide hammer time. Harder. There you go. So if you haven't really taken apart a suspension, there's a lot of little pieces. Take your time and go in order.
Go. That smells good. It smells so good.
Just go in order.
It's like a crack.
So see what we're going to do. Here's your seal. This is the main seal that we're going to replace, and then
all those have to come off.
All these will be coming off here. Parts right here, we slid down our seal because we're cheap and we're not going to use a seal.
Oh, hey Dennis. Hi. Okay, where's the top piece at?
Just getting this button back up, these guys here. How much oil did you end up going with?
120 millimeters.
120 mils from the top, right?
Yes, from the top. Two. I did 3 notches in. Just to be like...
Between 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Just to be...
So we're just boys are getting the forks put back in here and snugged up.
Coming along.
So we got fork seals, new fork oil. Oh, I think they were out of Indiana and New Jersey. I think bel-ray was out of.
There's gonna be a lot of good content coming, guys. Let's get these bikes.
Let's get these bikes going. We'll be ripping them up.
All right, where's that?
Cody's eating leftover turkey.
I'm about to munch on it too. Shoot. Ooh.
All we're doing is just button things up. Not me. I'm just cameraman today. But snugging up stuff.
It's an easy process, guys, but it takes
just a lot of little. Just getting it all done right. And we have Clayton's bike, his front wheel here. We're just going to pop off these spacers and swap out the bearings. NSK bearings. Underneath this.
Yeah, still right under. Dang, came out.
Popping out these spacers. You can warp this metal. It's a really, really thin metal. So don't hit one side real hard. Work it sideways, you know.
All right.
Take your time and work it out.
Those are your spacers.
So this right here is just your water seal or dust cover. This is not your bearing. So we'll just put a...
There he goes.
Should hopefully be able to reuse these, but we'll
You want to go watch that, Cody?
we'll get new ones. Pause it. Follow the old record. Ready? Alright. So there's a spacer on the inside. It's just basically a metal rod or metal pipe. You just slide it over to the side. We're going to heat this hub up a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Not worried about damaging that bearing, of course, because we're going to take that bearing out. I'm not going to work all crazy or anything. We're just going to kind of move swiftly while that is warm and not put any pressure on one side of the hub here. Just kind of work it around, and they always come out.
Dang. The whole thing came out.
Always come out. There's your little pipe on the inside. All that is a spacer. If you're familiar with skateboarding, most of your skateboard wheels should have one of these spacers, but it's a lot smaller. All right.
It's awesome.
All right. So now we're gonna see that hub. We're gonna clean that out before we put the new bearing back in there. So we're gonna heat this side up here. Same thing. You know, maybe just right till it just starts to smoke a little bit, at most. That's all it needs.
Boom. Out.
There it goes.
Two bearings
We'll just
out.
get this hub cleaned up, and that's all there is to it. Just cleaned up this area. Well, it's kind of warm, so the oil and grease is still
Comes off easier.
comes off nice and easy. And of course, the hub is still warm, so the new bearings will go in easy.
Spread the bearings.
Let's see if it fits. Ah, good. So if these bearings just fall right in there, your hub's bad. If you put it in there and it's wallered out, or if your hub's bent, then you know your hub's bad. But this hub has a couple bearing replacements left in it. You can tell.
Got that first bearing in there. It's seated all the way up against, there's like a little lip on the other side. It's seated all the way up against there. It's looking good. Right now we're putting that dirt seal back on. Fairly easy job. Really easy.
Ready?
Yep. We're greasing her up right now.
I usually put a little grease in there. It's not really, I guess, necessary, I suppose. It'll work without it, but it seems to hold in a little bit, hold out, I guess, more water.
Whoa, what is this kid doing? That's not even a real one either.
Inspirational recipes at presidentcheese.com.
That just goes flush with it, right?
What in the world? That is
Keep telling yours.
Good. Alright. So really, if you have all your stuff and you're ready and everything's set up, so 5-10 minute job by yourself. If you have everything set up and ready. So we're really about done here. We're just going to wipe off any excess grease from these spacers. And that is a finished bearing job. Thank you for watching.
Okay, keep pushing. Keep going. All the way through.
So if you have your plastic cap on your bike, we're just putting the that plastic cap back in there.
The seat's right up to the end of the...
That's basically just a dust cap for your axle that covers the interior part of your axle. And here's your bolt that you'll torque down on this side first. Alright, so here is where a lot of people make their mistake. They'll cinch down these bolts on his side, and then they'll get their torque spec down here thinking that they're doing a good job, which of course they are. But then you have to go back over here and loosen those back up to set your alignment and everything. So it's just a step that some people forget. So he's going to put some pressure on those, and then we'll get our torque spec. You know, for your bike, just check your own torque spec. I'm not going to tell you what your torque spec is. So there you go. He got his torque spec.
That's it.
There you go. So that's set for that.
No, this needs...
And we're just going to compress the front suspension.
Force work. More.
So just jump on it and do your whole, yeah. All right.
Look how short I am, dude.
So now that your gap disappeared here, we'll put some pressure on this bolt here.